When I left religion and fundamentalist Christian churches, I realized that the church teaches that its members should not touch the opposite sex or minimize contact, and that some even consider it a sin. One of my favorite rom-coms is How Harry Met Sally. I think it was a 1989 movie. Basically, the idea became pop culture that men and women just can't be platonic friends. And I don't think this is true. As long as you have ethics, professionalism, and treat everybody with respect, I think men and women can work together and be fine. And I just realized the last time I watched it that, yeah, it's very heteronormative, the movie. The idea that men and women cannot be platonic friends or buddies gives off the opinion that everyone is interested in the opposite sex, which 18 to 22% of the population couldn't care less about the opposite sex when it comes to sex and romance, because they're not attracted to the opposite gender, or it's a variation of what heteronormative expectations might be. And looking back at this, it's very, very easy to understand why heterosexual people just expect everyone to be heterosexual, and they expect men and women to find each other so attractive and desirable that they can't even be in an elevator without these kind of issues happening. And this all goes back to purity culture. The idea that you cannot be around the opposite sex because something will inherently happen is BS. It's BS. People of the opposite gender can live together, do things together, and have no romantic or sexual interest in the other person whatsoever. It's called being a roommate, a buddy, a boarder. It has nothing to do with finding someone desirable. And the idea that people can't keep their hands off each other because intimacy just happens is ridiculous. It undermines the basis of consent. I can be around anyone, even people I find physically attractive, without wanting to sleep with them or even putting my hands anywhere near their body. This is about a lack of accountability, self-control. I honestly believe that a lot of fundamentalist adult men are so uncomfortable around the opposite sex due to the idea of purity culture, temptation, and sex. They freak out or act like children when they're talking about this, even in front of the pulpit. Men act like a woman wearing a bikini or even having to be in a room with her is like she's nothing more than a piece of meat. If grown women and men can't be in a room with somebody without expecting something sexual to happen, this is not a safe environment anyone should feel comfortable in. Just because you find someone attractive doesn't mean they're existing so you find them attractive. It doesn't mean that what you feel is important to the other person. It doesn't mean you are entitled to anything. So the existence of someone else doesn't have anything to do with you. And there's just something about fundamentalists, especially when it comes to men. They just they act like all women are a temptation. This is so dehumanizing to women. And I feel so bad, and I feel such compassion for women who finally get out of purity culture and fundamentalist Christianity and realize how the entire structure and institution set them up to possibly be assaulted, abused, or blamed. It doesn't matter what people wear. It doesn't matter how attractive they look. They owe you nothing. And to say that something that's inevitably going to happen erodes consent. If men and women can't be friends or be around each other without fearing that something's going to happen, the Billy Graham rule, you have deep-seated problems. Deep-seated. Men and women don't exist for you to find them attractive. They exist because they're human beings. And if a man can't be around a woman without viewing her as a temptation or as a lustful object of his objectification, he is not a good person. Women exist because they are alive, not because you have a right to view them as though they're less important or an object to be objectified. Men and women, even people of the same sex, should be able to be around each other and not be afraid that something's going to happen. Nothing has to happen. And if it does happen, okay. Just make sure the person you're doing something with is more enthusiastic about it than you. But there's just something sinister about men, women in the church who act like being alone with anybody that resembles a heteronormative relationship prospect is a scandal waiting to happen. Scandals only happen because people don't understand ethics and professionalism. They don't care. They have no intention of being a decent human being. That's why these things happen. Not because a man and a woman is alone, but because someone's either a predator, or they have no self-control, or they view people as though they're a piece of meat. I can tell a lot about a man by how comfortable he is being around professional, intelligent, independent women. If he views them as a threat or as a temptation, I know that I'm not safe around this person. And it goes the other way too with women. If they only see men as relationship possibilities, I don't want to spend time with them.